Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. I'm May Kunka with Remax Elite Realty here in the San Gabriel Valley, and I cover the greater Los Angeles area. I hope everyone had a happy Veterans Day and long weekend. I just want to thank all the veterans past and present who serves our country. In light of all the fires that we've been having, I also want to thank all the first responders, the brave firefighters, police officers, medical workers, everyone who's been helping and taking care of the fires that's still currently happening. I just think you guys are really brave and just saving so many lives right now, and we want to make sure that we thank you as well. Since we're on the topic of speaking about our firefighters and first responders, I want to talk about home fires. With the holiday around the corner, there is a spike during this time for home fires. So let's talk about a couple of things that we can do for prevention. I'll go over a couple of things that are most common that causes house fires, and then a couple of prevention stuff that we can go through. Okay, so for the holidays, Thanksgiving is around the corner, and a lot of people like to fry their turkeys, which is a very delicious thing. But I think if you watch the news every year, someone's home, it's not funny, but someone's home inevitably always catches on fire. We're going to put a link up online so that you can look up some stuff that you want to make sure that you go through to make sure you don't have an accident. A few things are making sure that you fry your turkey outside, away from areas that can catch on fire in case something does happen next to your house, the structure, dry shrubs, or anything that can catch on fire. One of the main reasons why fire causes when people are deep frying turkeys is because they put a frozen turkey right into the fryer. What happens is when water hits hot boiling oil, it kind of boils, and it boils over into the fire. It can cause a grease fire. Another reason is if they put the turkey in and the oil overflows, that can also cause a grease fire. So make sure you have the proper equipment like gloves, goggles, and keep the kids away. But also, I was reading online that you should have the proper fire extinguisher. It's not a regular extinguisher, it's specifically for a grease fire or something like that. But make sure you just check online, Google it, and do that, because it's really delicious but also very dangerous apparently. With Christmas, right after that, we have the Christmas tree that is a main cause for fire during Christmas time. And so if you're doing a fresh tree, which I love, make sure they cut the base of the tree trunk for you so that it can take in fresh water. Also, that you fill up the tree base with enough water. I feel like I'm filling that thing up every single day, or the dog drinks out of it, but just make sure you check that it's fresh. Some of these trees have been cut a while before, so it's in the process of dying already for a little while before you get that. When I was reading online, they also said one of the main reasons why trees catch on fire is one, because the pine needles are dry, and again, they're dying, but it's the lights. So a lot of the older Christmas lights, they get hot. I know the newer LED lights, they don't get as hot, or I don't think they get hot at all. But just pay attention to that. Make sure you turn it off at night and it's not on all the time. And then it said specifically not to go more than 3 lights connected at a time. Make sure you check for frayed wires, just common stuff like that. And make sure that it's the right lighting as well. I think they mentioned that some people just think you can use inside lights outside and outside lights inside. No, that's actually one of the main reasons why it does catch on fire. So pay attention to that kind of stuff during the holidays. We want to make sure it's a festive time, and nobody wants to go through stuff like that. So I'm going to go through 10 things I found online that are most common causes for house fires, so that you can pay attention to them. You can think about them if you have some of these things, hazardous things around your house, or some things that you can just kind of make sure you prevent from becoming an accident. So one, and they're not in specific order. So one is electrical equipment, cooking on the stove. I can tell you I'm guilty of that. I've caught my towel on fire when I picked up a pan too close to the fire. I've had to light our pilots with wicks. So just be careful. And also, this has crossed my mind a million times where I think I'm just gonna run to the store for 10 minutes and be right back and have something in the oven on low. Don't do that, because what if you run out of gas or get into a car accident or something, can't get back home? It's not worth it. 2 is the heaters. The heaters are very prone to setting things on fire that's close by. Smoking in the bedroom, that's very self-explanatory. Don't do that. You can fall asleep in bed, and that has happened. Electrical equipment, and this is going to pop up as faulty wires and a couple other things as well, but electrical equipment, if they're old, a lot of the older stuff, I mean, I was born in the 80s, so a lot of that stuff, it was so, I guess it didn't have the right protocol. So if you have some of those old electrical stuff, get rid of them, get the newer ones or something like that. Candles are one that can easily burst into flames. Curious children. I am also guilty of playing with fire when I was little, just with lighters and stuff like that. But, just teach them while they're young what's safe and what's not. Faulty wiring, overloading the outlets, especially during the holiday when you have the tree, the computer, the TV, the video games all plugged in. Barbecues came up, and not just for outdoors. Some people apparently bring them inside the house, so don't do that. Flammable liquids should go in the garage away from electrical stuff, so chemicals and whatnot. And then old lighting can get very hot, so that can eventually at some point set something on fire. So those are the 10 most common causes to house fires. Now, in the home, here's a couple of things that I can recommend. Having fire extinguishers in a few places. I have them at home as well. I just think being in this field, we see a lot of things, we learned a lot of things that we should keep in mind, and try to learn from someone else's mistake rather than your own. So fire extinguishers are quite inexpensive, about $20 or something. You can get on Amazon. I have a few of those at home. Make sure that they don't expire. If not, change them out. Smoke detectors, it's mandatory for you to have them. So, the problem with smoke detectors is when they are dying, they'll start beeping, and what I would say 90% of people would do is take them off because they're annoying, and then you don't put them back or you don't replace the battery. Make sure you keep that as a habit, because it's just, it's the first alert, especially if you're sleeping or something like that. And then for landlords, if you have property that has smoke, that doesn't have it, make sure you have it in there, and make sure you go to your property at least once a year, not just to check on your tenants to see how they're doing, but also to make sure those items are working, because if there's a fire and they find that those aren't working, you're going to be in big trouble. Okay, so that's a good excuse to get back into the property. For garage doors, if you have a garage door that leads right into your house, make sure you have the proper doors. I could tell you almost every single house that we've done home inspections for, almost none of them are the right doors. They're supposed to be fire-rated doors, and it keeps the fire at bay if a fire happens in the garage. I mean, it's fire resistant. It's going to hold back the fire for a certain amount of time, hopefully to keep it from spreading to your structure so that firefighters can get there before it gets to that point, and it's for your protection. But it's not meant to just be fireproof completely. Also, it should have a self-closing hinge so that it would push the door close on its own. And then for outside, if you are in a high fire zone and you deal with a lot of, fire scares, make sure you cut those shrubs. You can also, there's tons of plants that are fire resistant, so you can look those up and plant those around the property. And again, with the electrical and your barbecue and stuff like that, just make sure that you take care of that. Don't overload the electrical so that it doesn't catch fire. But last and most importantly, if there is an accident, make sure you have fire insurance. I know that you think that everyone has it or should have it, and which is the case, you should have it. If you're purchasing a property, or if you purchased a property with the loan on it, most likely you have it because the lender requires it. But if you own a house free and clear, you inherited, or you bought a house cash, you actually can decide if you want to get fire insurance or not. It's such a small cost for what it can protect you against. It doesn't make any sense. So just call your insurance agent, talk to them. I mean, how much does it cost if you add up the lifetime you're at your property, and if you ever have an accident to the cost of what you're paying for your premium every year, it's still undervalued for what they can cover if anything happens. So I hope that was helpful for you. I hate that we have to talk about stuff like that, and some of the stuff is common sense, but accidents happen all the time unintentionally, and that's why they're called accidents. But we hope you stay safe out there. Please share this with anyone who might find this information helpful, and if you like this video, please go ahead and like. If you'd like us to cover any topics that we haven't covered or anything you're interested in, comment below, and we will see you next week. You can find out more about me at maykunkarealtor.com, and you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at May Kunka Realtor. Thank you so much and have a good week. Bye.